Hi everyone, and welcome back to the virtual classroom where we look, listen and learn together. It's quite cold and damp outside at the moment. You might look outside your window and see that the weather has changed, and sometimes this means that the environment changes too. And if you look closely on the floor outside, maybe the forest floor or in a garden bed, you might notice something popping up out of the soil. These things that pop up out of the soil are often umbrella shaped, and they might be slimy or silky. They might be bumpy and lumpy. They might even be spotty or stripy. Don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I've given you a couple of clues. They're not exactly plants. They're in a kingdom of their own world. They're fungi or mushrooms. Now, mushrooms are part of the fungi world, and they're a very magical organism. And I actually found one on a walk. It had been knocked over, and it was on the path. Maybe a dog came through. And this was the mushroom that I found. You can see this one is quite lumpy and bumpy, and underneath sort of has some gills. I don't know if you can see that. There are those gills on there, and they tend to live in either the soil or on wood, and they actually use the wood or the soil to get its nutrients, and they help the plants to grow too that are around them. So they are very important. So you don't want to pick them. I'm showing you this one because it had already come out of the earth. But you also don't want to pick them because they could be poisonous. And some of the poisonous ones tell us that they're poisonous by having spots on them or being very, very bright as well. But they're very beautiful, aren't they? They've got sort of a magical feel about them. Maybe a fairy might live underneath one, take shelter underneath one in the rain. I have a book here, and this book has a page on fungi and lichens, and the fungi are all over on this page, and you can see that there are lots of different types of fungi or mushrooms, and they have very, very amazing, intricate patterns on them. I'm going to show you this page here so you can see. They're beautiful, aren't they? Very, very beautiful, very colourful as well. And it says that these existed a long, long time ago, and they're not plants. They help plants, but they don't make their food by photosynthesis like plants do, and they don't have roots. They reproduce with spores, so their spores reproduce. And they help to break down plant litter, so you often see them on a log or in the soil, maybe amongst some leaves, and they can be poisonous, which is what this book says too. And so these are some of the different types of fungi here, mushrooms. Some of the interesting names are pixie cup or leathery goblet. Very interesting. The golden shield. Thought maybe we could look at this mushroom that I found, and maybe we could do a thinking routine looking at this mushroom. And maybe when you go out for a walk and you spot some mushrooms, sometimes you have to look really closely because some mushrooms can be tiny. This one's quite big, it was very noticeable. And maybe when you look at the mushroom, you can use this thinking routine to help you understand what you're seeing and what you're understanding. It says, I see, I think, and I wonder. It does get us thinking, doesn't it? So if you say, I see, what do you see? I see, bumpy. I see brown. I see sort of slimy. Those are some descriptive words or vocabulary that I could use to describe what I'm seeing. And then when I say, I think this grew under a tree. That's what I think. I think this grew under a tree. Maybe I wonder how it grew. And I wonder how it grew. Or I wonder what those gills are underneath. I wonder if this is poisonous. And I think it's a mushroom. That's what I think. And do you know what? Mushrooms are made of 90% water. That's a lot of water, isn't it? They're very, very sort of spongy as well. And there are lots of mushrooms that actually glow in the dark. There are lots of species of mushrooms that glow in the dark. I don't think this one does. I wonder if there are any mushrooms in your garden that glow in the dark. That's pretty amazing. It's a very beautiful mushroom, isn't it? So they have an important job. So we've got to remember not to pick them. This one had fallen over. I thought it would be very interesting to show you this mushroom. But you can look really, really carefully. Maybe go on a mushroom hunt and see if you could take some photos of some mushrooms and see if you can do this thinking routine. I see, I think, I wonder about mushrooms or fungi. They're not a plant, they're a fungi. Very interesting. I hope you can find some mushrooms around your area. You've got to look really, really carefully at the forest floor or in the garden beds. Maybe even move some leaves aside very, very carefully because they often hide. Have fun finding some mushrooms. Maybe take some pictures. Do a thinking routine. I'll see you next time. Bye.